Hey guys, so I had a request from 9Cyrus2 and she's a really big fan of Mylie Cyrus and she wanted me to create a look that kind of mimicked something Mylie Cyrus wore in one of her episodes of Hannah Montana. So we're going to create that look. It's a very subtle and simple look. It's very easy and I hope you guys enjoy, and let's get started. Alright, so I pulled my hair back just to keep it out of the way. We're going to start with the face first and go through from start to finish of how I think kind of Mylie Cyrus's makeup looks in the episode that you showed me. I've tried to pick mostly drugstore products because I know that you are a young teenager and I know that you need to keep the cost down. You probably don't have that much money to spend on expensive products from MAC or Sephora. So I've already put my foundation on and my concealer on, and I used Maybelline's Mineral Power foundation. I picked the shade Light Zero. It's the lightest shade that they actually have in their collection, but I really like this foundation because it's really light and it looks very natural on the skin. And then I used Maybelline's Mineral Power concealer. This one's in the color Light 2 to 3. Now I have very light skin tone, so you definitely do need to match, the colors that are appropriate for your skin. Now what I noticed in Mylie Cyrus in the Hannah Montana show is that she has a pretty good tan, at least in most of the show. So I'm going to use a little bit of bronzer to darken up the look. So I'm going to use some kind of large powder brush just to get an all over sort of bronzed look. She doesn't do a lot of contouring on her face in this show, and I don't have a drugstore bronzer to use, so I'm just going to use Laguna from NARS. Now just use whatever product that you have. So I'm going to lightly dip my brush in this product, and then I'm going to sweep it over my face in the 3 motion. Probably want to get a little bit down the neck just to make sure that your neck and face are not completely different colors. And it looks like she has blush on, but it's a very sort of natural, maybe sort of peachy tone blush. It's not hot pink, or it doesn't have any shimmery qualities, at least to me. And the closest blush that I can come to matching that is something from MAC, and this is called Melba. It's a peachy tone, almost, closer towards flesh tones. You don't want anything too bright. And I'm going to take a blush brush. This is a MAC 129. I'm going to lightly dip that into the product. And then smile. And place that on the apples of your cheeks and work back. You don't want this to be too dramatic or too dark. I do usually have to apply my makeup a little bit darker in videos just so you can see the color. But if you find that you've placed too much blush or you have really harsh lines, the best thing to do is to take your powder brush and gently blend that out. You want it to be really subtle and really natural. Now, since you are young, I don't necessarily recommend wearing lipstick. I think a lip gloss would be more appropriate. The closest neutral shade lip gloss that I have is actually a MAC product, so I recommend finding something from a drugstore. This one's Viva Glam 6. And it has little sort of gold particles in it. Alright, so I'm going to go over the eyeshadows before I zoom in to show you the eye tutorial. In this video, I'm going to use the Clinique palette, and this one is called Buttered Bronze. It's number 103. And it has a really nice sort of warm brown and a really nice light highlight. They do have a little bit of shimmer in them, and I think that's a little bit more appropriate for someone that's younger. I definitely don't wear matte shades myself that often. If you do prefer matte shades, just find something similar to this. Now, if you don't have Clinique, or Clinique is too expensive, like I said, I'm trying to use as many drugstore products as I have, and I used foundation from a drugstore, and some of the other products I'm going to use are from a drugstore. If you happen to have the Coastal Scents 88 Shimmer Palette, there are some really nice browns that are off to the side here. It's, I guess, the next 2 up from the darkest black and brown here. I think those are really nice, and also this brown here would be really nice in the palette. Now for the highlight, I would recommend something that's probably a little bit more yellowy based, not completely white, because that's just going to be too dramatic. So I think probably these two down from the highlight section on the other side of the palette would be really nice. So ultimately you want a warm toned brown, something that's not too dark, that's not going to be a really dark outer crease color, but something in the mid-range of browns. And then you want a highlight that's not going to be too white in tone, so something that's a little bit more yellowy based, something that's not going to be completely white and opaque on your eyelid, because we want this to be really subtle. So I'm going to zoom in now so that we can do the eyes. So I'm going to use L'Oreal Decrease to prime my eyelid. I think priming your eyelid is really important for making your eyeshadow stick in place all day long. Now I know that you had mentioned that you don't like to wear a lot of heavy eye makeup, especially eyeshadow. So I'm trying to keep this as simple as possible without placing so much product on your eyelids. Now I'm going to use one brush for this tutorial. I'm going to use my SS224. It's just a fluffy blending brush. Sonia Kashuk has a really nice brush that I really like for this as well. So what I'm going to do is dip my brush into the product, and then I'm going to start in my crease area, laying down the color in kind of back and forth motions. You can also do circular motions if that works for you. Get a little bit more, place it on the lid. Okay, now once you've gotten all the product basically off the brush and onto your eyelid and crease area, what I'm going to do is blend just above where I placed that color so that we don't really have any harsh lines. It doesn't look like Mylie Cyrus is wearing an astronomical amount of eye makeup. She has a really strong amount of mascara. I think that really gives the look the most amount of definition, but it does look like she has a very subtle brown color on her lid that comes a little bit above the crease. So we just want to make sure that this is really nicely blended out. Now I'm going to use the same brush and I'm going to go into the highlight color, tap. You don't need a lot of this highlight color, especially from this Clinique palette, because it is pretty pigmented and it is quite light in color. So I'm just going to place that on the lid, and then I'm going to blend it in between with the brown color so that it's really subtle. I'm going to take one more tap and go right here in the inner corner of my eyelid just to give a really nice subtle highlight. Now I'm not going to use an eyeliner in this tutorial. I think eyeliner definitely makes it more dramatic, but if you're not really skilled with makeup, you'll find that you'll probably get a line that's a little too thick for you. So what I'm going to use is take an eyeliner brush. This one's just from the drugstore. Anyone will do. And we're going to actually use the darkest shade in the little palette that I'm using, this brown here, for the eyeliner. I'm going to pack that onto the brush by sort of tapping into the product. And then I'm going to place this towards my lash line. Now I'm going to take a little bit more product and go underneath my eyelid to about halfway in the lid. And I'm going to connect this to the end of my eyelid. Just like that. Now I'm going to curl my eyelashes. I know I say this in every video, but it's really important to curl your eyelashes. So I'm going to use Maybelline's Lash Stiletto. And this is in the color black. And now I'm going to do the bottom lashes. So here's a close-up. So this is my interpretation of some makeup that Mylie Cyrus was wearing in one of her episodes of Hannah Montana. I hope this was really helpful for you. It's a very subtle, very simple look to pull together, and I think it's very appropriate for sort of the age group that you're in. So I hope that you enjoyed the video. I hope this was helpful for you guys, and I hope you guys have a wonderful day and weekend. Talk to you later.